Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Commission Breath. Brandon Love here with Tom Moffat. And today we are going to do probably not rapid fire because we're more easy does it kind of pace guys, but we're going to fire through a bunch of questions that we get frequently asked by Commission Breath listeners in person, on social media, via email, etc. We hear you. We usually try to give you a pretty good response, but some of these come up quite often. So we're just going to do a deep dive into those today.
Yeah, we've been guilty of not answering our Commission Breath Instagram. So if you want to ask us questions, do it to our personal Instagram because we're not always on the Commission Breath one. But why don't you start us off with question number one, buddy?
Yeah, so a question I get a lot from people is how do I know when is the right time to hire and how should I structure my hiring?
So my honest opinion, you can lump this into hiring, but I would get fulfillment right away because there's fulfillment models out there where you're paying per file. Sure, you're taking a cut per file, but if you can pay $400 to $500 per file and you're taking half the amount of load off of your plate for each file, it's 100% worth it. That's my take is like right away, hire fulfillment. That's the first piece that you should be hiring for.
Yeah, I think even if you're a $5 million producer, that's something you should hire for. I know that seems like you're giving up a large portion of your income at that point, but you're buying back so much time that you can pour into prospecting. So that's the first one I would do. And there are so many people, like we have probably 4 people within Tango who offer these services to agents. And it's typically in that $400 to $500 range. They do all of the document submission to the lender. They put together your signing package. They do all the compliance. So it's literally done for you. You just focus on client nurturing, finding new clients, expanding your prospecting, marketing, etc. All those other hats you still have to wear in the business, but it takes a big chunk off your plate. The other thing here too is like you might say, hey, I'm really good at it, or it doesn't take me that much time. It's like, great, but are you going to be the $50 million producer who's really good at doing their own compliance? Probably not. It's something you eventually have to get off your plate. So get it off early and just move on to the next thing.
Yeah, and there's a counter argument that you should learn how to do the signing packages and fulfill conditions, which I get. Maybe do it for your first 10 files, learn how to satisfy down payment. But like, honestly, man, I haven't done it in like maybe 3 years now. I wouldn't even be able to do that today, satisfy down payment with bank statements and gift letters and all that. And any questions I have from clients, I always just say, hey, like ask Diana. She is the specialist when it comes to this. So in my eyes, you don't even really need to have to do your first time doing it, but there is that argument. And I do say like right away, specifically for the reason that most people entering mortgage brokering as an agent or a broker, they are working full-time still with their full-time job. So you almost need to have that fulfillment while you're at work to fulfill those conditions, right? So
yeah, that's a great point. If you plan on doing like this as a part-time gig, it will eventually become full-time if you're good at it because it takes up so much time. But having that fulfillment does buy you a little bit of runway. The next big hire that people usually look at is an underwriter. And underwriting hiring is really tricky because there's people that are fantastic underwriters, there's people that are terrible underwriters, but everyone kind of thinks they're a good underwriter. And there's also an issue where your work ethic and what you put into your business might vary wildly from an underwriter who feels that their job is just a straight 9 to 5. So when you're hiring an underwriter, it's about determining, is this a good underwriter first off? So have a few like sample files from your past files that you know maybe were a little bit tricky. Ask them, how would you handle this? What would you do differently? What's the hardest file you've worked on? Things like that nature. But then also say like, what is your expectations for a work day? Like if a client calls me on a Thursday night or something, they want to go live on a file, I know my underwriter Kyle is going to respond to my text if I have a quick question. On the flip side, if he weren't going to respond until Friday, then all of a sudden I'm jumping back into the file, trying to figure out what he's done, going back to that client, wasting a bunch of time, at which point I wouldn't feel that great about giving up a big chunk of my earnings to him.
like the actual position of underwriting, it's skewed in many different ways because a lot of people think like I'm going to hire an underwriter and then I have all of this load off my plate. It depends on the person you're hiring. Like Traditional underwriters, their mindset is they just want to be behind the scenes, plugging away and do the actual underwriting and not be client facing. So you really want to distinguish what is that role for that person? Are they going to be a hybrid where they're doing the underwriting and the client facing activities? Or do you just want to have them do the underwriting and you're still the face of the brand and talking to the clients? So you really got to define what that role is. And lucky for us, we did find that hybrid person in Kyle that is really good with clients and knows how to underwrite really well as well, which is kind of a diamond in the rough, to be honest. Like, I think if you're going to hire an underwriter, you're probably going to be easier off finding a straight up underwriter. And then from there, as you get busier, maybe you do hire that person that's like client facing, that does the initial upfront discovery call and is more of that like juggernaut salesperson.
Exactly. And just to add to that point, when it comes to hiring, be really cautious about accepting who you hire for who they are and what their skills are. People have room to grow, but you're not going to turn someone who's very introverted and reserved and nervous talking to people into that fantastic outgoing salesperson that you may want. So be mindful of who they are as an individual. That doesn't mean they're not the right fit for you, but they might have a role that's very defined and specific. And then you might have to find that supporting cast elsewhere. A lot of the failures I see is people say, I want this person to be like very outgoing, following up with my clients, doing calls, being proactive in spaces where that person's actually really anxious and likes to hide behind their keyboard and is just going to send emails. And then you're getting pissed off because they're sending emails, but it's just their personality. So you're not going to change someone. Try to find the right fit. And we waited a year and a half for Kyle to say yes to us. We courted him like desperate lovers and it worked out, but it took a long time. So the time horizon on hiring, I would say, be really quick to pull people out of your system that aren't a fit because they can do a lot of damage to your brand and to your business. I've made that mistake before, but then also be patient for the ones that are the right fit to come around.
You both have made that mistake now that I think of it. It comes down to knowing their incentive too. Like, what do they want? That will dictate how you pay them. Are they going to be straight up salary? Do they like the comfort of knowing how much money they have coming in every month? Or are they a bit more on the risk tolerance side of things where they want to grow and make more money and they're okay not having that guaranteed paycheck coming in? Then that'll give you a good indicator of, okay, we pay a certain percentage per closed file. Like, there's different ways you can structure the pay. And I think you start with what that person wants and what you want as well.
Yeah. And just full transparency, because we always share what we do. We have flat fee for compliance. And then when it comes to our underwriter, he has a guaranteed base, but he gets a percentage of every file. So hopefully he exceeds that base to the moon, but he has that protection if there ever were a really terrible year, or when the brokerage picks up more and we have to pull more time out of actively brokering, he's still going to get paid for managing the book and keeping things on track that way.
Yeah. An example of a creative solution that we had to come up with, like, hey, our guy wants the comfort of knowing how much he's going to take home, but he also does want incentive and motivation to earn more. And that was the happy medium between the two. So many ways to skin a cat, as I've said here before on the podcast. I'm going to say it again.
Meow.
Meow.
All right. Next question. Quick hitter here. A lot of you ask what CRM we use, what CRM we recommend. I feel like we've touched on this one quite a bit. That always tells me you don't really listen. No, I'm just kidding.
That question will forever be in the mortgage space until the end of time.
We'll be really quick on this one. We aren't a huge fan of CRMs. We use a Google Sheet that the whole team has access to. We train on that within our brokerage as well because we think it's really great. If you love CRMs, our favorite one is probably coming from Josh Misk at Broker Edge. But like I said, we're big spreadsheet guys.
Yeah, I will add to that. If we were to go back, maybe we would have the actual CRM to track the renewals. I know you are with past clients, but whenever someone submits a Finmo app, like, they've got secondary properties and all that shit happening. And it's just nice knowing that you've got that list already queued up in Broker Edge. We're kind of learning recently that monos aren't being very competitive with rates right now. So that's something that brokers should be focusing on right now on the renewal side of things. Big banks, we look for refi opportunities or advanced strategy opportunities, but we let those slide for the most part. But monos, it's fair game.
Yeah. All right. This is a big one. It's come up a lot. How do we feel about AI? How do we use it in our business? And is it going to fucking kill the business eventually? So let's just start with how we feel about it. I think we're on the same page. We both really like AI.
I hate it.
No, you don't. I use AI like all throughout my day. Like I was up till like 2 in the morning last night. I was sending you emails, I think at like 1:30. Not that you didn't reply to me.
12:45.
12:45. There you go. That's not too bad. Just showing you like AI readouts of like reports I was going through. And I find it's a super beneficial tool. I really like it.
And that's specifically ChatGPT that you're using, I'm assuming.
Yeah. I don't know the other kinds. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. I use mainly ChatGPT. I do some of the image creation shit as well.
That's kind of the point I want to make is like there's so many different tools with AI. And I think that's where brokers really need to cut the line in the sand is like use AI, but don't get caught up so much on like the new advancements because literally it's advancing every single day. And there's all of these different programs and tools and apps out there that keep popping up. I think like for me at least, I just like to stay true to ChatGPT because like it's tried and true. It's been around since the start and it keeps getting better and better. And I've built the habit of knowing how to use it now. So for me to switch to something else, like another LLM or even just something completely different, I'm not going to bother. So I think AI is only as good as you use it. And I think that's the same analogy for CRMs.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so we both like it. Let's jump to how we use it in our business. So I use it a lot for analyzing reports. So we get like these massive spreadsheet that shows like brokerage, total volume, amount by agent, amount by lender, da, da, da. And I'm just like, okay, I only care about a couple data points in here. I put the whole spreadsheet in there and then like isolate these data points. Use it a lot for improving our spreadsheets. So like just creating custom cells and little things like that. A lot for researching ideas, researching stuff for content creation, rewriting emails, making me sound like less of a dick when I'm in a bad mood, little things like that.
Yeah, you need that. You need that 100%. Thank God for AI. Is that why there's a happy face in an email yesterday?
No, that was just me. I was actually not in a bad mood at that time.
I agree with all of those. That's what I use it for, most specifically on the social side of things, content creation. And I just posted a video yesterday that is popping off as of right now, and it's captured me at least 130 emails. So I know it's going to keep running. And on top of the 500 or so emails that I captured from social since, say, call it 2 months ago, I'm now creating a drip campaign. And what I'm going to do is use ChatGPT to create a custom GPT that is specific on knowing email marketing to its full extent and just have it for that reason. Anytime I need to create an email, I'm going to go into that custom GPT. It's going to help me structure emails with the thoughts that are coming to my head. I'm going to use ChatGPT to help me come up with ideas. And I'll probably do to start 20 emails at a time. And then once I have the drip campaign built out, drop them all in there, send out once a week, and then keep building on that drip campaign using that custom GPT.
That's cool. So can it learn from your previous emails as well too, right? So you can say like, hey, we've talked about these 20 things, like don't be repetitive, but like build off of this.
Yeah. So like what I'm going to do there is not so much like from the email front, but more so I'm going to feed it transcripts from videos of social media. I'm going to tell it to do deep research on all of the advanced mortgage strategies and just learn it. And the more you feed it, the better it is in the custom GPT. So I'm just going to dump all of my transcripts from even like Loom videos that I recorded so it can understand how I speak.
Cool. Finally here, how do we feel AI is going to impact the industry? This is something when like AI was coming out, you were like, we're fucked. We're fucked, man.
I said that?
Yeah, you said that. And I was like, dude, it's going to take a while. Don't worry. At the Canva event that I went to recently, there was a panel and Ron Butler was up there. That guy's always in a good mood, has the most eloquent way of speaking. Definitely would want him around my kids. He was sharing his like really positive outlook on AI that like 3 to 5 years, the A side is going to be fucked, but the B side has a 10-year time horizon to it just because of the complexity of the files. So interesting on the A side is he just said like the banks are working on so much on it already. They're going to end up doing a bunch of layoffs, et cetera, et cetera. And I was like, yes, okay. Parts of this I agree. Like we just talked about fulfillment. I think fulfillment probably will eventually be erased by AI. That's a pretty easy one. But where I think he missed the mark there is he didn't go into the advanced mortgage strategies at all. And I know he's always blasting them on TikTok and calling out guys like Zach LaFeda who are beauties. So I think he's missing that just because he's so stuck in his ways a little bit that he's missing the opportunity for the A side there. And I think there's a longer runway on that side.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm doom and gloom about it. I'm usually pretty positive, like with most things, but I will say, like, I am a bit more on the negative side of things, just because like there is a lot of unknown, and I'm already seeing, like, I mean, this could be a byproduct of the market itself, but like, I feel like banks are getting more of the market share of the last couple of years, and we're all seeing that with competitive rates and all that. So that's one angle. The second angle is AI is developing so damn fast that people will start to be more comfortable using AI to make their daily decisions, even when it comes to their mortgage. Like, people are going to trust LLMs like ChatGPT to make their decisions. That's my personal opinion. But I do agree that I think the advanced mortgage strategies, that is going to take some time for AI to replace that sort of thing, because people aren't going to want to implement the Smith maneuver, cash damming, debt swap. They're not going to want to implement these things on their own without having someone there to consult them. So I think that is here for the long term, 10 years plus, but we could be sitting here 15 years from now and we could be saying like, oh, remember the time we thought that we're going to be extinct in 10 years? Who knows?
Yeah, and like also the thing to consider is like, what's your time horizon? Like, what are you looking for in the business? Obviously, we're building a brokerage. So if we felt like the industry was going to be fucked in 3 years, would we waste our time building a brokerage? No, we wouldn't. I think there's going to still be a lot of opportunity for brokers and a lot of value that we can provide to people, provided that we learn and we evolve with AI as a tool and we implement into our business and we grow and scale with it. So like, the banks are going to work on something that's very focused on the bank's products. We can use AI and build different things out that's going to be beneficial to our business, and we should. And I know it seems daunting to do these things, but like literally how I'm doing it is like, my daughter is learning to read for a while, but she's kind of struggling with her reading. So I have like a reading game on your iPad. We're going to read physical books. You have these little like take home things from school. You're going to get some additional coaching and support. That's exactly how I'm approaching my learning towards my business. Like, I'm doing some YouTube video. Like, we just went to a training in Whistler with some AI. So getting that element of coaching. I'm doing my own like daily reading or like daily research on my side of things. And then I'm just playing around with a few little games and doing fun things with it. So I'm getting more comfortable in that AI space. So it's not daunting to me anymore. It's not something that I'm an expert in, and there's a lot I don't know. But every time I engage with it, I figure out something else that I can put into my business. And that's how I'm going to grow and evolve with AI.
The thing I think is going to happen is the amount of mortgage brokers and agents there are in Canada, that number is going to shrink drastically over the years. But the ones that stick around, they're going to have the market share for people that do want to use a mortgage broker. And the business model might be different. Like, it might not be as straightforward as it is. Hey, you need a mortgage. Okay, cool. Here's your A lender options. Pick which one you want to go with. Away you go. It's going to start converting over to that consulting side of things, where you're consulting them on like what the best options are for their specific situation, and kind of like the same model as like a fee for service financial planner, but on the mortgage side. I think that's how things might start playing out. Then you're always going to have the being private long term, maybe 10 years plus, like Ron said. Maybe it's going to be longer. Of course, you've got the advanced strategies that I think will be around for a while.
Totally. To your point about there being less agents, I can see a trend coming in with a lot of the education and different requirements that are coming in, that eventually the mortgage agent course won't be as much of a joke as it is today to get started. It'll be more of like a college course or a university level course. That'll automatically cut out a lot of people. You also have an older demographic that's still brokers who, with like different compliance regulations and things like that, every time there's a change, more of them drop off. So you're going to see some people drop off there. I think you'll see a consolidation where banks' expected volumes, things like that, small brokerages are going to go out the wayside. You're going to see some more consolidation into bigger players and joining super groups like Tango, because of the upside and the huge advantage that it provides both on a team level, but to the individual brokers themselves.
I think when there's a lot of things going against you, there's always opportunity. And I think that opportunity is like, if you're the last man standing, like, you're going to have business and things are going to go well for you. And maybe you don't need a 30-year career. Maybe you just crush it for the next 5 to 10 years and be smart with your money. And you've got that piggy bank, you hit your FI goal, and away you go.
Boom. Love it. All right. How to grow a beard. Get that one a lot. sacrifices.
I will say you did grow that fucking fast, man.
Yeah, I did. Oh, I looked awful without it. You got to lose the hair on your head. Sacrifice it to the gods for it to come out of your face. That's the only way.
Amen.
Okay. Jokes aside, we get this one a lot. What's the deal with Tango? Do you guys still broker? Why are people coming to Tango? We'll be quick hitter on this. We still broker, still how we get paid. We're not really making money off Tango at this phase, or it's very much in a startup growth kind of mode for us. The deal with Tango and the value we're bringing to the market is helping brokers earn more and pay less. So we have a broker, a few of them actually. They were like $10 million producers last year. They've already hit 10 million this year, and they're projected to hit 30 million plus. What we're doing to save them money out the gates is, we don't nickel and dime our brokers like everyone else. We don't charge for, we don't charge for credit pulls. We give an insane tech package, and we do all of this for $150 a month. We also are very generous with our splits. We share every dollar that comes from the lenders, including things like the Scotia scorecard, which if you haven't heard of that, it's probably because your brokerage doesn't give you it. So we're very generous with that money. Training wise, we do a daily training and prospecting together from 10 to 11 every morning. So there's that community and team element that in a lonely world of brokering, a lot of people appreciate. So I think the combination of these couple factors, and Tom, feel free to jump in, is sort of what's the deal with Tango and why people are coming. But I'll leave it there.
That was perfect. I think the only thing I'll add to that is people do often get confused. Like, is Tango a network? It's not. It's a brokerage, but we have sub brokerages that fall underneath Tango. And that's the really cool part is you can fall directly under Tango as an individual agent. A lot of agents are. And then you also have agents that can fall underneath sub brokerages or teams within Tango that have their own specific offers that really piggyback off of what Tango's already offering. So that's where people get confused. Like, oh, there's this team here, but they're technically under Tango. That's how we're structured. And it's nice because one person might be into having like done for you services. One person might need that more of like the hand holding mentorship. And one person might want more of the advanced strategies. Like we offer all of those things at Tango.
Totally. All right. If you guys have more questions, shoot us a DM either on Commission Breath, or if you want fast response to our personal ones, or email, whatever. We're easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Have a great week, and we'll catch you soon. Cheers.